And it's still very early in the morning, so I decided to spend some quiet time here in the chapel with, of course, the Santo Niño behind me, if you can see. Just a few days ago, we celebrated the feast of the Niño, of the child Jesus, of the Santo Niño. And it got me thinking about this reflection question. Have you ever felt small? I mean, maybe for some of us, literally, di ba? Ako, ito na yung height ko since high school. 5'2", never grew beyond 5'2". Okay, literally feeling small, but maybe most of us have had at least one experience of feeling emotionally small or even socially small. I remember when I was in preschool, all the way up to high school, I always felt small. I mean, I was one of the shortest in class and one of the slowest. I mean, don't count on me in winning the races for the class. I usually finish last and could never shoot a ball in basketball, could never serve a ball in volleyball, and even broke some ping pong balls because I just didn't know how to serve properly. I mean, talk about smallness, I know how that feels. And our Lord mentioned, being last, lost, and least as different ways of feeling small. But last weekend, last Sunday, when we celebrated the feast of the Santo Niño, our Lord God, our Lord Jesus actually chose to be small. In His greatness as God, the irony is He chose to enter this world as a baby, as a child. And it's so inspiring to know that our Lord went down to our level, to make Himself unintimidating, easy to approach, a God who is not up there, who is hard to reach, but a God who is among us. And so He knows how I feel. He knows how all of us feel when we feel small, because He Himself chose to be small so that we can be carried on His shoulders. Despite our unworthiness, siya mismo, di ba? Siyang umi-effort, di ba? Siyang umi-effort para maramdaman natin na kaisa natin siya, that He is with us. Just last Sunday, also on the very feast of the Santo Niño, we lost a very, very great, legendary teacher from Marinol. Her name is Miss Alita, binibining Alita Fernando. I still can't get over it that she's no longer with us. She died at the age of 88, complications of pneumonia, old age, but she lived a very, very full life. And if you think about it, Binibining Fernando never got married. It was her life's choice to stay single, to live a very simple life as a teacher, as an educator. And I was just one of those lucky girls who got to be in her advisory class when I was a sophomore in high school. I remember Binibining Fernando was already in her 60s when she was our class advisor. Ano yun? Matanda, mabagal, mahinahon, malumanay. Pero kung magalit, actually hindi siya nagagalit di ba? Sa mga high school classmates ko, hindi siya sumisigaw na nagagalit, pero matatakot ka sa kanya. Alam mo yun, it was that generation where yung mga teachers natin makuha sa tingin. Yung ganon. She was classic makuha sa tingin kind of educator. There are very few people. The period of her wake was very short. She died on a Sunday. And she was cremated and buried on Wednesday. It didn't really give us that much window of time to actually visit her. So many of my batchmates wanted to come, but because of the short wait, we couldn't. But it was so much like her to keep her wake short and simple, because she was very simple in her ways. Simple, and yet to this day, she's my teacher back in 94, 95, or 93, 94, somewhere around that period. Her impact in my life continues. She loved our language. Mahal na mahal ng wikang Filipino. She loved our country. She loved each and every of her students. It's just a reminder and testament of her greatness and her smallness. Going back to her wake, everything was kept simple. She was in a simple white casket. There were flowers from different batches, from 72 to 84 to 89 to 98. Gosh, it spans several decades of students who loved her. And I thought to myself, I wanna, not that I'm being morbid, but I wanna leave this world the same way she did. Very simple. Parang, alam mo, malumanay mahinahon, pero grabe yung impact niya. She touched so many lives. I'm gonna miss her. I really am. Yeah. And so, when I look at the Santo Niño behind me, it's the same invitation of God, diba? He came into this world small, uh, unintimidating, but very much approachable. And in his smallness, he was able to do many great things, carrying us on his shoulders. The same goes to this wonderful teacher of ours, Alita Fernando. In her simplicity, in her smallness, she carried so many students on her shoulders. Just to end, on that same day I went to her wake. My mom and I visited her cousin, Tita Remy Ignacio. Hi, Tita Remy. If you're watching this, I know you're watching this. I just wanted to include the story that you shared with me. Tita Remy and Miss Fernando are first cousins. And Tita Remy is a very close family friend of ours. And when we visited her that same day, she shared with us a story about four individuals who were, in the gates of heaven. And St. Peter asked the first one, so, what did you do in your lifetime? What profession did you hold? How did you serve the Lord? And he said, well, I was a doctor. I healed many people through my profession. Wonderful. The second one said, well, I was an engineer. I built a lot of structures and, made connections, buildings, all of that. I used my gift through engineering. And the third one mentioned, I was, ano nga ba yung profession nun, Tita Remy? Sabihin nga natin police, di ba? Or somebody in the, somebody of that nature. It was three wonderful professions. And St. Peter nodded and was pleased. And then here came this fourth person, a lady, very simple, small lady. And St. Peter said, how about you? What did you do to praise and glorify God in your lifetime? And she looked at the first three men and she goes, well, I taught all of them. I was their teacher. And so St. Peter opened the gates and this little teacher got an express lane to heaven. So I can only imagine that Binibining Fernando and all these educators and those who sacrificed their lives to teach us, now have like an express lane, express ticket to heaven. So this is for you, Miss Fernando. May you enjoy your birthday in heaven. And to our Santo Niño who is right behind me, may he continue to guide us to stay humble, stay grounded, to remind us that in our moments of smallness, in our moments when we feel we're socially, emotionally inept or small, we are reminded by the Niño, the child Jesus, that He is always by our side and He can use us as His instruments. In our smallness, He can actually create this fire in our hearts that will bring us to greatness. And by greatness, I mean greatness heavenward.